Google Merchant Center errors can be one of the most frustrating things to deal with as a brand running on Google Ads. They can cost you thousands of dollars and hours of unsuccessful appeals if you don't approach them correctly. So I've put together this super comprehensive flowchart to walk you through literally everything to do with GMC errors, how to fix them, and how to prevent them from happening in the future. Now, we have fixed Google Merchant Center errors on hundreds of accounts by now. We have seen almost every error that exists, and we truly do know how to fix all of them. So I'm going to walk you through everything here. Strap in. It's going to be a really comprehensive video because there is so much to cover, but this has literally every step you need to fix your problem, and I'm going to explain it every step of the way. If you want access to this specific resource, I'll leave the link down below so you can get this flowchart for yourself, go through the specific parts of issues you may be facing, and fix your issues if they do appear in your account. So, first of all, when you receive a GMC error, the very first thing you need to figure out is your entire account suspended, or is it just a product level disapproval? Now, these are two very different things, right? If your entire account is suspended, you just will not be able to run any shopping ads. You won't be able to run a Google Merchant Center whatsoever. But if you just have a single product level disapproval, it just means one of your products, maybe a couple of your products, maybe even all of them, but not your entire account, maybe disapproved briefly, and it's much easier to fix. Now, the first thing I'm going to go through is the product level disapproval because it's more straightforward, easier to fix, and it's just more simple. So that's going to be phase one of this video. Phase two, I'm going to jump into the account level suspension, how to fix that. So if you are struggling with an account level issue right now, just skip forward in the video to the account suspension section and you can see exactly how to fix that. But like I said, we're going to start with product disapproval and I'm going to show you how to figure out whether you have a product or account. If you're unsure if you have a product or account disapproval, this is how you figure it out. So an account level disapproval looks like this. You'll see a big bad thing in your setup and policy issues section on your home screen that says misrepresentation for the entire account, right? So this is setup and policy issues affecting all products. If it's in this category, it means that your entire account has been suspended or disapproved and you need to fix that. Now, if you just see a single label on a product that says something like not approved, then that means it's only a product level disapproval. So check this, check your overall account issues. If you're seeing this in your overall account issues, it means you are account level suspended. If you're just seeing this in a couple of products, it means it's just a product level disapproval. So how do you fix a product level disapproval? Well, thankfully, it's quite easy when you have the right steps. Like I said, a product level disapproval will look like this. Now, what you need to check are a few different attributes of the product to start with. So first and most importantly is your price. Does your price on your product listing match the price on your website? Now, to reach this page, all you have to do is just click on the product here, and then it'll take you to this product page here. Now, I've obscured some of the data here for customer client privacy, but I've circled all the important stuff here for you guys to focus on to make sure that you are checking the right fields. So, your price. Is your price in this section here the same as your price on your website? It must be displayed identically. If you're using a sale price, the sale price also must be completely aligned with what you have on the website. If you need to fix these numbers, you can edit the product here, but I generally recommend editing it upstream, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Next up, your availability. Is your availability in the product listing the same as your availability on the page? You can see here, availability is in stock for the product. If it says in stock on GMC, but it's out of stock on your product page, on your website, Google's not gonna like that. They're gonna disapprove it. You're gonna have issues. Next up, title and description claims. Not on your page. So do you have specific claims in the title or description of your product? So the title is up here. The description is, if you just scroll down this page, you'll see it just down below. Are there any claims in your title and description which do not match the claims on your product page? It should be completely aligned, the journey from the shopping ad through to the website. And if there's anything that doesn't align there, any specific features, benefits, anything outlined that is not clear on the page, Google may flag you and they may disapprove your product. Now, this one honestly is less common than these other two here, but it can still happen. Shipping feed does not equal your checkout, right? So this is actually one of the most common I see, possibly the most common, is that the shipping policies aren't completely aligned between your product listings and what you have on your website. So you can see here, if you go into the left tab here, under products in store, shipping and returns, you can see the shipping policies that you have set up for each product. Make sure that your shipping policies are fully aligned with not only your product currency, so if you have a product that's in USD, but your shipping currency is in AUD, CAD, anything like that, you're gonna get disapproved. Make sure that your currencies are aligned, your locations are aligned, your shipping times are aligned, and they're all the exact same as what it says in your checkout, on your website, on your shopping feed, shipping policy page rather. Very, very important, that one. Now, when you identify what the issue is, if any of these things are misaligned with what's on your page, I recommend fixing it at the source. So in Shopify or Simprosys. So I typically recommend setting up your shopping feed through just the Shopify integration if you're new to Google Ads, but you may also be using Simprosys, which is a feed management tool. Either way, you want to go into the Shopify feed. So on Shopify, you'll go into the Google and YouTube app in order to edit your shipping feed there, your shopping feed there. And in Simprosys, you go into the Simprosys settings in order to make the edits. Now fix them at the source, because like I was saying, if you edit it here directly on Google Merchant Center, just by using this edit button, what you may find is that when Google resyncs your products from Shopify, which it does quite regularly, it syncs typically on a daily basis, I believe. When it resyncs from Shopify, it's going to pull in that outdated data. And if you haven't updated it upstream in Shopify or in Simprosys, it's going to pull through that incorrect data and you're going to get flagged again. So make sure you fix this upstream as far as you can, fix it at the source, and then only use kind of this edit button for products that you set up within Google Merchant Center directly. All right, and once you have fixed it at the source, then recrawl the page, which you can trigger in GMC. So you will get an option on the product here. If there's an issue with the product, you'll have an option to basically recrawl and recheck the page under the Needs Attention tab. Click that button and then Google will double check. It usually takes a few hours to get it done most of the time. And if everything has been fixed, if it's all aligned, then it will be approved and you'll be good to go. Now, make sure when you are doing these things, when you're making these changes, make sure you document all of the changes that you make. Take screenshots of the before and the after, because if it gets to the point where you do have to contact Google support, you want to make sure that you have the ammunition to show them, hey, look, we had these issues, we fixed them. It's very clear that now our product is aligned with exactly what we have on the landing page, and you can make it clear as day that you've made the adjustments that Google is requesting. Now, once you've documented everything, submit an appeal in GMC. If you still need to, if the recrawl doesn't work, then you want to submit an appeal in GMC and move forward from there. However, what we're going to do now is we've explained all of the product level issues and how to fix them. These are the most common product level issues. Probably 99% of the accounts that have a product level issue are facing one of these issues. But now let's move on to the account level issues, right? And then after the account level issues, we'll come down to the final section here, which explains the process after you submit your appeal and how to make sure that your appeal gets approved. So on the account side, these are the biggest issues that we see with account level suspensions. So number one is website trust signals. So make sure that you have very clear trust signals on your website. You have approved payment processes, you have reviews, you have clearly stated claims, nothing that's too crazy, no outlandish claims. Make sure you have approved payment processes, you're using an approved host, something like Shopify or WordPress, just something very, very safe. Because as soon as you start to go into territories of overly customized things, things that look unreliable, things that look sketchy, you're going to run into issues. Now, your return refund policy, shipping policy, contact info, checkout working, and no false claims. These are a few things that are very, very common that cause account level suspensions. So on the return and refund policy, if you head into your, again, products in store, shipping and returns tab, under your return policies here, also make sure your shipping policies are fully aligned. Your shipping policies need to match your landing page, but so do your return policies. Make sure you input your return policies, you fully fill them all out, and they're exactly aligned with your return policies page on the website. Everything is clear from site to merchant center, and everything lines up. That's very important. Next up is your contact info. So you need to make sure that all throughout your website, on all of your pages, there is clearly visible contact information for a customer who may want to contact you. That's also very, very important from a Google standpoint for trust signals. Make sure your checkout is working. So sometimes we find that there's issues in client account checkouts. So that checkout may break, it may be missing certain details, certain trust signals, certain contact information, things along those lines. Make sure it's very, very clear. And finally, no false claims. Like I said, don't say anything on your website that you can't back up or that the data doesn't back up. And if you think there's anything that may be kind of on edge, then just remove it to be safe. All right, layer 2 is your business identity. So this is one that a lot of people forget to set up in Merchant Center, but can have a serious impact on your trustworthiness in Google's eyes. So you need to make sure that you verify your domain. Now, first of all, to verify your domain, you want to head under business info here. So on the left-hand navigation bar in Google Merchant Center, settings, business info, under here, you can verify your domain. So you can basically put in your domain and prove to Google that you own the domain. Massive trust signal that really helps you. Your name in GMC should match the name of your business. All of the kind of business information should be fully matched between your website and your GMC. And your billing info should also ideally match your website and brand and company name. Now, if there's a little bit of billing misalignment, may not be the biggest issue ever. If it's under, like, say, a personal name rather than a company name, it can be fine, but it's something worth checking if there's a really big discrepancy. Or if you have used this is another one to look out for, if you had a suspension in the past and you're using the same billing details in Google Ads as you were on that suspended account in the past, it gives you the potential to have issues with suspensions simply through linkage, simply through basically cross-pollination of having the same details across multiple accounts. So look out for that. Ad and product claims, this is layer 3, right? So make sure that you don't have any prohibited claims on your website. Google has a very specific policy page so you can check that you aren't basically violating any claims rules. So you can Google Google Ads, shopping ads policies. You'll find this page, go to this page, read through all the policies and make sure you're not violating any of them. I know it can be tedious, but you do have to do it because it genuinely is a very big issue that we see when people are using basically terms they're not allowed to use, maybe health-related terms, medical-related terms, adult-related terms. Things along these lines can get you banned just for having the terms in your products or on your website. So make sure there aren't any disapproved, prohibited claims on your site. Make sure your sale prices are valid as well. If you have misleading sale prices, if you have fake sales on GMC that aren't existing on your website, you'll be flagged for that. You could be misrepresentation suspended again. Make sure your images are accurate. If your product photo has an image of something that is not what is on your website, again, you're going to be looking very untrustworthy in Google's eyes, and there's a very high chance that they will suspend you. So make sure everything aligns across your website and your merchant center. All right, once again, document all changes before and after. Make sure it's very clear, hey, we had this issue, we know this was there, we've now addressed this specific thing, here's the screenshots, when you have to contact Google, if you have to contact Google. Once it's all documented, submit your appeal, as I mentioned before. So you submit an appeal directly in GMC, and then you request a review. In order to submit an appeal, you just click this button here on your misrepresentation page or on your product disapproval page. You can say, I disagree with the issue, and Google will essentially recheck and review everything to see if you're now compliant. It's grayed out here just because this merchant center was deactivated at the time, but you can typically press this issue if you want to request a review. Now, it can take a while to do these reviews. Unfortunately, they can be a little bit slow, but once it comes back in 3 to 14 business days, then you can check the outcome of the appeal. If you were approved, happy days. You can move on to the prevention, and the prevention looks like this. Make sure that in order to prevent this from occurring again, you set GMC alerts. You can do this by going into the preferences page here. So under the settings on the side, general, personal preferences, account health alerts. That means it'll send you emails when there's issues with your account health. That's a good one to play. 6-hour feed sync. So make sure your feed is updating very regularly, because if you aren't syncing through changes from Shopify to your feed, then naturally you're going to have a misalignment between your feed and your Shopify, which is going to cause issues. So make sure you're syncing as regularly as possible to keep all the active and most up-to-date data flowing through the Merchant Center. And then just doing a quarterly audit of the entire account. So once a quarter, go into Google Merchant Center, check everything. Business information, shipping information, returns information, products, everything, to make sure that it's up to date. Because things change in stores. You may update your shipping policy, you may update your returns policy. You need to make sure that on a quarterly basis, you're checking these things to make sure they're still up to date. Now, in the unfortunate case that your appeal gets rejected, this is what you should do. First, re-audit. Make sure that you haven't missed anything. Double check all the things I mentioned already. Double check everything across your website, everything across your products. Make sure there aren't any issues outstanding, anything that could even be interpreted as an issue. And then before you do that, once you do that rather, then you can go for another review. But before you go for another review, also check if there's any new violations as well. So sometimes if you request a review, they may come back and basically still have you suspended, but you fixed the first thing, but there's another thing that you might have missed. And sometimes it may raise a new flag. So check if there's any new violations, any new issues that have popped up, fix them before you submit the next review. Now, wait for a cooldown. Google does enforce a bit of a cooldown on the reviews. I think it's like once every week or so. It varies depending on the suspension, but wait for the cooldown because you can't really get around it in most cases. Typically, I recommend going for a automatic reappeal once. So do one more reappeal. So put your first appeal in, then if it comes back, try and fix it again, then put in another appeal. And if that still doesn't work, then you need to contact Google support. That's my recommendation, right? So if you've done 2 appeals through the appeal button and they're still not working, you need to take the manual route. And in order to do that, you just go up to the top right here, you press a question mark, and then you go contact us, and you can reach directly out to Google in an email. Now, in this email, make it as detailed as possible. You can use AI to write it if you like, just make sure it's accurate, but make sure you have all the screenshots of your before state, all the screenshots of your after state, and say, we've fixed all these issues. Could you please let us know where the existing issues lie? And then Google, if you're lucky, may get back to you and say, hey, this is the exact problem. This is what you need to fix. Sometimes they may be a little bit more difficult. They may be a bit more vague. You just have to be persistent. You have to keep asking, keep trying to narrow down, and eventually they will tell you the cause of the issue, and then you can fix it and move forward from there. And that is pretty much the entire playbook for fixing a Google Merchant Center. And I know it may seem overwhelming, it may seem like there's a lot to do, and yes, it can be a little bit frustrating, but I promise you this process does work. We have done it so many times for our clients, and we have, in almost every single case, got them unsuspended and fixed and reapproved. The only cases where you can't fix it is when there is a genuine violation and you don't fix a violation. So please stick with it, keep trying, keep pushing, follow this process, use this resource here to go through the flowchart and go through every single one of these points to make sure that you're really trying everything. But also, if you want some help with this, if you want me to look into your GMC, if you have a GMC issue and you want me to try and look into it and figure out what's going wrong, feel free to book a call with me down below. I'll be more than happy to look into your account, try and figure out where the issue lies and help you get back on track so you can start advertising on Google again and making heaps of money with Google Ads, because that is what we do here. We help you make millions of dollars with Google Ads, and I would love to be able to help you do so just through my content here. But of course, I keep all of the really, really good stuff within our agency. Although I have walked you through our entire playbook here, we obviously have the methods, we obviously have the strategies, we have the support templates to reach out so we know what to do when we need to get a GMC reapproved. So once again, feel free to book a call down below if you need some help. Otherwise, check out my other videos for more Google Ads source. And if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing and give this one a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.